afternoon, everyone. Good evening, where you're joining us from. Welcome to the first Open Export Series for the year, an initiative of the Scaling Export Program of the African Food Chain Makers. And today we'll be discussing building brand recognition strategies for international success. I'm certain a lot of persons are ready to learn. So if you are with your notes, ensure you're with your notepad, your pen, and just for you to jot in all the key takeaways and the learnings you'll be taking from today's session, because there'll be a lot you'll be able to learn. And I'm sure certain that as you're here, you are definitely interested in taking your business to the international level and expanding to global shelves. So welcome on behalf of African Food Chain Makers. But before we start, I would love to take you through the agenda for today's event. We'll be starting with an introduction, and then we'll share about what AFC is and some of our programs at AFC. And then we'll have a couple of persons share their export stories, challenges, your successes, and all. And then we'll go into the meat of today's event, where we'll have our speaker, Mrs. Titi Lokpe Ojo, should be here to share in depth into the topic, and you would also have an opportunity to ask question and answer. And then we'll move on to connecting with AFC. Those who are part of our community already know what we do, but then we have new persons who are not part of the community, and then we're closing with next steps and pictures, definitely. But then while I have a colleague of mine come up to introduce what we do at AFC and our programs for the benefit of those who I just knew or are joining us for the first time. Kindly introduce yourself, your name, your country, your agribusiness, where you're joining us from. So on this note, I would be starting first. My name is Indegiju Anna Mambula. I am here at the African Food Change Makers headquarters in Abuja, and I'm the communications officer at AFC, since I do not have an agribusiness actually. And okay, so do well to introduce yourself in the chat box. Where are you joining us from? What's the designation in your organization? Or how, and you can even go ahead to share how passionate you are, and then what are your expectations for today's training session. Okay, so I can see a couple of persons already introducing themselves. I can see somebody all the way from Somalia. I can see Malwale. Okay, a lot of good afternoons. Famous Patrick Musa, Cyril, Dorcas. Okay, I can see someone Kikaba Chadrak from DRC. That should be the Democratic Republic of Congo, Somalia, Tanzania, South Africa. Amazing. Gandhi Banda. It's a pleasure to have you join us. And to put it more further, kindly drop your expectations for this for today's session. What are you looking forward to learning? What questions are you looking forward to having our expert facilitator come to answer? What are your expectations? Is it high? What are you looking to take away from today's session? And okay, so I'll be going on to call my colleague who would be taking us through what we do at ASC and the export program and other activities we have here at ASC. Hi, Adana, over to you, please. Hello, Adana.
Good day, everyone. We're happy to have everyone on the call. So I'll be speaking on African food change makers and what we do in the organization. Can we move to the next slide? Next slide, please. So African food chain makers is a non-for-profit organization. We believe in small and medium-sized enterprises as being the lifeblood of the food ecosystem in Africa. And we have a range of entrepreneurs in our community who are dynamic and visionaries who are also innovative entrepreneurs comprising of distributors, processors, aggregators, technology experts, consultants. We have chefs and cooks in our community, and we call these people change makers. One of the reasons why we established the African Food Chain Makers is because we discovered that a lot of entrepreneurs face challenges and climate challenges as well. So we established the African Food Chain Makers to be able to mitigate this impact and provide solutions that would help entrepreneurs scale their businesses successfully. Through the African Food Chain Makers Hub, we enable African entrepreneurs to start and scale sustainable agribusinesses that nourish Africa and the world. Next slide, please. Our mission in African Food Chain Makers is to enable African entrepreneurs to start and scale resilient and sustainable agribusinesses that feed Africa and the world. And we do this by providing training, funding opportunities, exposure, trade linkages, and a vibrant community of change makers. Our vision in African Food Chain Makers is to be able to enable 1 million successful and sustainable African agribusinesses that are transforming the food ecosystem and are recognized globally. Next slide, please. So now we're going to talk about the African Food Chain Makers programs, and we have a range of programs. One of those programs speaks to the building resilience against climate and environmental shocks, which is called Race for Shorts. This is an intensive capacity building program that empowers African agri entrepreneurs to be able to train them and give them technical support to implement sustainable solutions to mitigate against climate change. And currently we've run the applications for this cohorts, and we will be commencing with the training in a few weeks to come. The next program we have is the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship. It's a program that was created to bridge the gender gap in the agri-food systems. And this program is aimed to amplify the voices of outstanding women who are doing big things in the food and agri sector. And we call this an ambitious program because we aim to celebrate women who are really doing outstanding things and putting them on the global stage. And this program has done its nominations, applications, and we are currently picking our finalists. And the program runs for 6 months, and there we do a graduation and close out, and we award our fellows. Next program I'll be talking about is the Scaling Export Program. The Scaling Export Program is called SAP for short, which engages in an annual cohort of to export nutritious agri-food products across Africa. And currently, we have not commenced the cohort for this year, 2025. We will be doing that shortly, and the information will be communicated to the community. If you're part of our community, that will be communicated once we commence with this program. And the OAS, the Open Expert Series, is actually vetted from this program, Scaling Export Program, which helps to enhance knowledge on activities in exports. So you are in the right place if you're connected to this program currently. I would like to on next segment. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much, Adana, for an explicit explanation of the programs we have here at AFC. So we would be moving, and another activity we have at AFC is the changing narrative. That is where we change stories. We use content in the form of videos, pictures, infographics, documentaries to share about African food, our culture, how a lot of products have their origin bettered in Africa. That's product like chocolates, where we have cocoa being primarily produced in Africa. So that's what our Changing Narrative program is about. Okay, so we'll be moving to the main reason why we're here. That is the training session, and then our speaker for today's session is Titi Joe. She is the National Coordinator, Standard Partnership Program, Nigeria. Titi is a seasoned professional with over 22 years experience in organizational leadership, agricultural value chain development, international trade, policy advocacy, and project management rather. She is a certified PMP, MPDSP, and an accredited management consultant and trainer. As a consultant, she has contributed to agriculture, trade, and quality infrastructure projects for organizations like UNDP, USAID, FCDO, and she has played several key roles in projects such as the Two-Scale, NICOP, and the National Equity Infrastructure Program, enhancing agricultural value chains, SME export capacity, and trade policy advocacy. She has led numerous trainings and capacity building initiatives, including the export readiness training for SMEs and women entrepreneurs under NMPC and the Nexim Bank program. In 2014, she was the Humphrey Fellow and at Cornell University, and she also worked with Carana Corporation on international trade projects. Previously, she has held senior roles at the Abuja Enterprise Agency, and she has developed training programs, rural development projects, and Nigeria's first SME online portal. She is a trained lead auditor at iOS Quality, Environmental, and Food Safety Management System. She's the founder of Applause Training Limited and AgroChains Consult Services Limited, and she continues to strive agribusiness growth and export advisory services while fostering collaboration and capacity building within the sector. So with a round of applause, a virtual clap actually, let's welcome Ms. Titi Ojo to the virtual podium. It's amazing to have you on the call. I'm certain we've joined a number of your sessions, and I believe those who have joined your sessions will know that they are in for a lot of learnings today, and we look forward to learning more from your wealth of wisdom. Thank you for joining us, ma'am. Sorry, Ma, you are muted. You might have to unmute yourself. Okay, so let's make you. So
all right, so I can unmute myself now. I couldn't.
Okay.
And can I share my screen as well?
Yes, you can, please.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everybody, or good afternoon. That's wherever we are on the continent. So do we have people that are joining us from any other part of Nigeria? Maybe, or outside the country, I mean outside Nigeria. I have 47 people here. Okay, that's...
Yes, we have a lot. So those who are from other countries, please type in represent your country in the chat box.
Rep. Time to rep. Time to rep is now. We're representing. Let me see. Trying to share my screen. Okay, Austria, Kenya, Eswatini. Oh Lord, this is good. Somalia, excellent. Netherlands. Oh, Calabar, Nigeria. Okay, so this is really good. Happy to see this. Happy, happy, happy. I'm excited. I thought I should do that so that I know, some of the examples I'll be giving are global examples. And I didn't do this only with Nigeria in mind. So I guess I did the right thing. So I'm trying to share my screen. It says sharing is not turned on. That's what I can see. Sharing is not turned on. Yeah, let me send the request. Can I share now? should I turn on now?
You can
Sorry,
try
I just
again, ma.
okay. Let me try again. I needed to grab a cup of water. Okay, so let's see. Yes. All right. So can you see my screen now? Excellent.
Coming
I think,
up, yes, we can see it.
okay.
I can see it, rather.
Okay, I have a second screen, so I just saw it come up. Okay, so we're going to do this. It's going to be a roller coaster. I'm going to send you the presentation anyway. Everybody will get it. And I think that would be perfect. In any area I'm unable to cover, but I'll do all I can to do this. So today I'm talking about building brand strategies. And we're looking at brand recognition, strategies for international success. Right, I've been introduced, so there's no need for that. Objectives, some of the things you're going to take away today. You're going to understand the importance of brand recognition in global markets. You're going to identify key elements of and then we're going to look at digital, at least the digital aspects of this. We're going to look at that, hoping that you'll be able to leverage that as well. Then we're going to be looking at strategies for differentiating your brand from competitors. So all of that will be in my presentation, and there's a case study there that I'm going to treat. Now, my first slide says, think local, and that means think globally. In your local, wherever you are is your local constituency. Like I'm sitting in Abuja right now. Abuja is where I am. If I'm localizing where I am, that is Abuja. But then I think globally. So maybe in Kenya, if you really want to go into international markets, yes, deepen your roots locally, it's great. And then think global. So even while you're doing whatever you're doing right now, think about it that what global effects can this business have? Because every business is operating from a place. That's the truth. No business just sits on the internet. It's operating from a place. It's as simple as one island in Japan. Okay. And this is interesting. Let me even just start with this story. I was in Japan some years ago for the JICA program, and we're taken to, they have a lot of cottage industries in Japan, a whole lot of cottage industries. And then I went for the African Young Leaders in Tech and ICT. And there's this old couple. They live just not far from, it looks like the bank of a particular lake or so. And they were into ceramics. They were doing all this Pyrex like ceramic, right? All these ceramic cups, ceramic bowls, beautifully made that are exported to the rest of the world. Ceramics, that's where your mugs are in this room where I am right now. The mugs that we used to drink, they do all of that, plates, saucers, and it's just a small house. The houses are just very small, wooden structure, just there, and they have a small production. It looks small as well, just behind them there. And of course, they do a lot of, what do they call that? Pottery. It's actually pottery business. It's pottery that ends up becoming these things I'm talking about. So they have that small pottery center, one small place just behind their house. And that's where they do everything on their potter's wheel. And we were able to even do a few, and they helped us design. But then right in that it's a small space, I'm telling you. Small house, small place behind there with some benches. And afterwards, they were taking us to what they do there. So after we did all that molding and the likes, they brought us back into the house. And they showed us they have a very mini website, nothing so extraordinary, nothing that they paid an arm for, truly. Simple website. Every time they finish a product, it's done, it's baked and all of that, and it's ready to go to market. They post those things on that website. And in some cases, that's where they get, in fact, most times that's where they get their orders, and they've already arranged a delivery kind of system, okay? So even the logistics part was key for them. And then they were sending these things in boxes out of Japan, going to the rest of the world. I'm telling you this story because I was there. They are quite, I'm sure this couple that time will be in their 70s. These people, their husband and wife, very small space. Their website on their computer is a desktop computer sitting right there. And their production, their pottery production, another little place like a shed behind the house, and just that wooden house with 2 rooms or thereabout. And they're doing business. Their business is going out. They're using technology. They're doing what they know how to do best. And eventually we did our own molds, we did saucers, we did decors, ceramic stuff, and we got it before we left. So this is a very simple story of, international penetration, thinking globally. They're locally situated in Japan where they are on that small space, but then their products are global. It's going out to the rest of the world. And so when I say think local, that's what I mean. An international brand doesn't have to, it has a base. That's just it. You have a base, and that's your local, that's what we call local. But the thinking is the global thinking. So far, so good. I hope you're hearing me. Can I get a thumbs up or say yes if you're hearing me? Yes, let me hear someone say yes, or yes, fire on, whatever you want to tell me, so I know that you're listening. Okay, great. So I'm glad that you can hear me. Someone says right on, cheap weekend. Local. If that's one thing I got to write down, anything you do as you think, as a local, your local constituency, you're thinking global. From this point, where can I serve the rest of the world? Is very important. And that's why the quality of a product is also very important. Because anything that the local market can consume, even the international market can even consume it as well, as long as it's good quality. So as a matter of introduction, I just want to talk about a strong brand. And a strong brand not only differentiates your business from competitors, but builds trust, credibility, and customer loyalty. And many of us have related with different brands, and we know why we're still using those brands. So I'm sure this statement is not new. In Nigeria now, McDonald's is now in Abuja, is in Lagos. We've always known them as international brands, but some are there with us right now. And they're doing even so well. Coca-Cola is a brand that all over the world, they're in every country. And we're going to be looking at, what are these people doing? Because sometimes you feel we don't have the muscle like these big ones, but they started somewhere too. It was someone's vision to be able to be all over the world. And they started locally, and now they're everywhere. Okay? FedEx, they have offices everywhere here. Okay, so we'll look at some of that. Now, let me also say here that branding is a market entry strategy. So I do a lot of export advisory, and branding, your brand building is a market entry strategy, because there's always something. Okay, so I think I had a picture here. Okay, I'll get to that picture. But it's a market entry strategy. Your brand will be the way your product looks, your services, customer relationship. I'll get there anyway. But branding is a market entry strategy. And when you're thinking of internationalization, going into the international market, you must have a strategy for your branding. Very key. You don't take that lightly. Okay? It requires planning. Because then you have to see that, okay, I have a new audience here, I have a new audience there, and their taste may differ. And let me tell you the story. Mix egusi soup. This one is sold in the UK and in the US. This egusi is a Nigerian soup, right? But it's well packaged. And it says instant mix egusi soup, instant mix. Even on that flyer, on the picture, it says just add water and cook for a few minutes. So packaging itself is a big deal. Somebody is in the store just looking for maybe packaged soups. And then as he's looking through the shelf, he just sees instant mix egusi soup. Like, oh, okay, egusi is now being packaged. And he's seen this in Australia. And he's looking through it, the egusi soup is right on the cover. It's already showing the person what the soup will look like when it's done. So he's already salivating. And he's reading it and saying, I just add water. Oh, this will make this thing easy for me. And he picks it up and takes it home and makes the egusi, and he loves it. He keeps buying it. Now he's able to access egusi that is just a local soup in Nigeria. He's able to access it in Australia. So even your packaging is part of the branding. Now we're going to pick that as we move on. And of course, the local taste we're talking about. I think I've eaten Nigerian food in some other country. It really tastes like what it is in my village. And I understood that it may not be like that, because everywhere you've been, every country, they have their own kind of local taste. So adaptation as well is part of your branding. Okay? Adaptation, just like Coca-Cola has done. Coca-Cola is in every country in this world. And the taste of Coke is not the same. Trust me, it's not the same. They have as many products as you can ever think, and they're not the same. There's a way they've done this. So if you visit the Coca-Cola head office in Atlanta, you will enter a room where they have you can sample all the different tastes of Coca-Cola and the countries where they sell those products are there. It's quite interesting, right? I've listed one, so I know, and I'm like, well, what Coca-Cola has been able to do a whole lot of differentiation, been able to study their markets and find those products, those markets. Yeah? This is very important. So today we're talking about brand recognition, and it's an export series. So I will be relating this to export as much as possible. And what is brand recognition? Just like someone says, can you recognize, aha? So you ask someone, you ask a friend, how do you know, when you see Mrs. Ojo, how do you know it's Mrs. Ojo? There are so many things you look at that you know that it's me now, right? You look at my height, you look at my face, you look at my glasses. There's some things that must be present. And once you see it, you know that's me. The same way they say, how do you recognize a Kenyan? How do you recognize a British? There's some things you will see that makes you know that this person is from this place. So the same thing with brand recognition is when the customer can recognize the brand and differentiate it from other brands when it comes into contact with it. The truth is, you go to a supermarket, you go to the foods section of the supermarket, and you can have up to 1,000 brands sitting on that shelf. How do you recognize my brand when you see it? So that's what brand recognition is about. How can the customer recognize the brand and differentiate it from other brands when it comes into contact with this? That is what brand recognition is. And the truth is, when you have a very strong brand, well, we're not talking about branding per se today, because we wanted to go straight in that. We won't really talk too much about the rest of it. But, you know, a brand has character, a brand has reputation, okay? And people become loyal to a brand, especially when that brand meets their needs, fulfills their taste, fulfills, you come to a brand with something in mind. And as long as that brand continues to satisfy, there's loyalty that comes from there. Okay? So brand recognition, brand awareness, let's see what all that means. If you look at this picture, there's someone on the shelf in the supermarket, and you see how many packaged foods are on this shelf. Yet she's picking one thing. So how did she know that what she's picking is that product is part of the brand recognition we'll be talking about? I wrote here that people recognize what is new and unique. So when it comes to market access and market penetration, you might first say, well, will people accept my product? Well, people do accept products. I personally like to try new things. And I've tried new things so many times. I go to the stores and maybe on the shelf, I want to buy maybe Gari Jebu, for example, at ShopRite. And I see one new one I've never tasted before. Honestly, I'll buy it. It's just my own pattern of testing something that is new. So people recognize what is new and unique. You go to a shelf, you're looking for maybe margarine, and then there's this new product. You want to go and try it. But one thing is this, we're talking about the quality advantage because that's what keeps you in the market. So the first attempt at buying your product, because it strikes me that, well, this is new. I love the package. I love the logo. I love what is written on it. As long as when I buy it, that product can satisfy my, can delight me, then most likely I come back again to buy it, and then it becomes something I buy regularly. I use Gari Jebu because for people that are not Nigerian, Gari Jebu is cassava flakes, is that what I call it? But it's cassava flakes, yeah, more or less, and you can crunch it. And Gari Jebu is very dry and very tangy, very nice. I like it. So I was in a supermarket someday. I wasn't going to buy these in the market, so I went to the supermarket and saw this particular Gari Jebu. And I bought it, and it was really, really nice. And the truth is I've been buying it ever since. So it tells you that someone sees a new product, wants to interact with it, picks it up, tastes it, is exactly what he was expecting. And, over and over again, this particular product keeps delighting this customer. It becomes something that the customer is loyal to. So yeah, I'm just saying, you're free to type it in the box. So there's a discussion point. So try and drop the answers. As I give 5 recognizable brands off the top of your head. 5 recognizable brands, like when you enter the store today, you see it, that's this, that's that. You pick it up. And these are brands you've grown to love. Can I see that? Yes, and maybe new brands you've seen also that you really do love. Let's put that in here. iPad. Somebody said, send me a pack of Gari Jebu. You owe me. So I said iPad. What else? We have iPad, yes. What else? Recognizable brands that you've seen. Yes, if you have recognizable brands. Okay, so Indomie, yes, Indomie, very key. Golden, Yauza, oh, Sahad, Barakat, Coke, Spirit. Okay, so we have quite a number of that. Golden Penny, UT, Golden Mon, okay, excellent. So this works. So there's so many brands we've seen. I wanted to quickly draw a contrast between these two things. Somebody said Oraimo. Okay, yes, Oraimo is a bit Honeywell. Excellent, excellent. Peak Milk. Oh my God, Peak Milk is a brand. When you see it, you know. So let me just do a contrast between brand awareness and brand recognition. Awareness is that a brand exists and you understand what it offers and its values. But the recognition is the visual element. So it is a smaller part of awareness. Sorry, some people are speaking outside where I am. So the recognition is a subset of awareness. So awareness is when a brand exists, understand what it offers and potentially its values. But recognition is a smaller subset. And usually we're looking at the visual elements like the logo, the color schemes, even without seeing the name of the brand. You see certain things and you could just guess that this must be Coke. Usually when you see Coke, even without seeing the name, you just know. So what is it that you see that makes you think a bottle is Coke bottle without even seeing the name? You know the color, you know the shape of the bottle. And that is recognition, okay? That is recognition. And this recognition is important because it looks like I described how you could recognize someone. Your product is described with how the product looks. So your visual elements are very, very important. And that's why when it comes to market entry, packaging is so important. You can't take that away. Packaging is more important than, if you ask me, it's like number one to me, truly, if you're talking about entering international markets. And packaging comes with so much. It comes with your logos, your colors, your trademarks, it comes with a whole lot. And I tell you that people see a product and immediately pick it up because they love the way it looks. There's something called the eye gate. We appeal to the eye gate more than anything. So you need to understand that when it comes to recognition, all those visual elements are very, very important. And it draws the customer to your product. It's the first port of call. So you can't but take it very seriously. When I'm talking about brand awareness and brand recognition, so I use Apple as an example. So Apple so for brand awareness, for example, no one knows that Apple is a tech company that makes phones and stuff, right? But brand recognition is when you see the Apple logo, the beating apple. So when I see the beating apple, I know that is Apple. So even if I don't see Apple written anywhere, if I see their logo, I know the logo. And that is brand recognition. I hope you've been able to get that right now. The difference between the brand awareness and brand recognition. So what are you selling? We're talking about export. You're either selling a product or a service. You're either into a product or a service. Products are tangible things you can hold. Services are intellectual work, right? And so both even needs brand recognition. Because sometimes too, the result you produce with the services you render makes people say, yeah, I didn't expect less. Because, if it is A+, I didn't expect less. If it is so school, I didn't expect less. It becomes your brand recognition. There are certain things you put into your services, processes, some rituals, some structure, that anybody that comes in touch with that service knows that, yes, this is peculiar to this particular service provider. They know so. So that's also very important because we talk a lot about products, also services. As a training company, how do we recognize? How do we recognize you? How do we recognize you? The way you do your things helps us to recognize. And it becomes a process, a standard operation that everybody that comes in touch with you talks about it. If 5 people came for training or an HR thing, or you worked or consulted for some people, if they sat down 5 from different organizations and start talking about you, they will say the same thing. That becomes your brand recognition. So that's why it's important, even as a service provider, to develop standard operating processes, to put in quality assurance, quality procedures into your services. You can't afford to do things anyhow. So what are you selling? Products or services? You might be doing both. So what are key components of let me put there, of brand recognition. You have your visual identity. Those are your logos, your colors, your typography, even the letterings, your packaging. I talked about it earlier. Your brand messaging. So you have taglines you want to use. It also shows your brand recognition. So if anybody sees a tagline, you know that's. So who knows the tagline of Nike, for example? Do you know the tagline of Nike? Can somebody put it on the chat? Tagline of Nike, tagline of Apple, tagline of, I'll show you some taglines. Toastmasters International. Let me see. Because taglines also is a brand recognition. People see you and they say, oh, that's you. Because you have put a tagline. So it's okay to put a tagline. Yes, let me see. Any taglines? Nike, just do it. Thank you, MTN, everywhere you go. And this is, I think the MTN has said, what are you doing today? What are we doing today? They use that a lot at some point. MTN, what are we doing today? Nike, just do it. Or what other taglines do you know? Think differently. That's Apple. So even your tagline, your brand messaging, your value proposition, whatever you say about your product or your service, this is our value proposition, becomes your brand recognition. And that's why there's a lot of consistency that is necessary when it comes to brand recognition. So that whenever we see it, yes, IBM, think hard, yes. So that whenever we see that service or that product, it just resonates with us immediately. And what comes to mind is you. Okay, so your brand messaging, your taglines, your value proposition, mission statement, and then the customer experience, consistency in service and product quality, customer engagement. And that's very important. We always say that once we are done with the customer, and once our product gets to the customer's desk, that it ends there. No. Part of your brand recognition is also post-engagement with your customer experience. If the product they bought from you has a problem, what do you do from there? Do you do surveys? Do you call on your customers once in a while? Do you wish them happy birthday? Customer experience, part of your brand recognition. So when we're talking about it, like, wow, if it's those guys that you want to go with. Then what's our storytelling like? Our brand personality, our community involvement. That's the emotional connection part. How do we tell our stories? How do we celebrate those that buy from us? People that has kept us in business. Sometimes our corporate social responsibility could also come into this. So they are key components of brand recognition: visual identity, customer experience, brand messaging, emotional connection. These are very critical to what we are talking about today. So what are strategies? Let me see what we have. I have 4 people there. Bonjour, nouveau, so enterprise. Okay, that's okay. So somebody said, okay, this probably is for AFC. Strategies for building international brand recognition. We'll run through that. I'm trying to finish my 4, but let's see if we can. So let's look at this. We're talking about defining a strong brand identity. And the first slide before this was strategies to building our brand. I hope you can still hear me. Our brand recognition. So define a strong brand identity. So your story, what do you call that? So there's something called brand storytelling. And I think you should embrace that if you really want to go into international markets, even your local market. What stories are you telling about your brand that resonates with even people, audience and national audiences? International audiences love to hear stories around how what they bought has empowered someone somewhere. It depends on the audience there, but some do love that. Some do like the historical feel of what you're selling. So that's why some people tell a bit of history about products. You see wineries talking about just they'll put dates of when they can tell you this wine comes from so that was established in 1930. There are reasons why people do those things. I don't think they're just doing it for fun of it. It resonates with people. So what's your brand story? Because develop a consistent visual identity that aligns with your brand values. Don't forget that when we started, I said you should have a plan. So have a brand plan is important. What are your colors? What are your colors? Your primary colors, your secondary colors? What do you use to show that your brand is vibrant? And really, when you come to international markets, you have to adapt your branding to local culture. Okay? And that's why I used Coca-Cola earlier. That's why I even use Domino's Pizza. Everywhere they've been that is not in the US or in China, everywhere you go, you see that they've adapted the product to the cultural environment. So if you really want to go international, you need to think of the cultural environment. That means you have to do research. So research is one of the things you have to do, and yes. Then the next thing is leverage. You have to leverage digital marketing. You know, we talked about digital marketing earlier. So are you on social media? LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You need to leverage those to enhance your visibility. Invest in search engine optimization, content marketing to also improve your search engine rankings. Use influencer marketing to expand brand reach in new markets. So the influencers in new markets that you hope to sell, you might want to leverage on their influence in those places. So use them. It may come to you as a price. Yes, if you want to pay that, pay that. You have influencers that people listen to. They buy their products because it is them. So there was a day I went to Sahad with my son, and then suddenly he sees this drink on the shelf. The drink is Prime. He said, "Mommy, Prime is not in Nigeria." I was like, "What about Prime?" I didn't even see anything to it. Then he told me about one influencer, and I know the influencer because he listens to the guy a lot, and the guy has a lot of followers. My God. He said it's a guy that is one producing this drink. I even said it one of the days in the session that they are now selling in some other parts of the world, that very soon it's coming to Nigeria. Now my son sees it on the shelf and he wants to buy. You know, he's not bigger than this. He's not even up to this Eva bottle I'm holding. We bought it for 3,500. And I tell you, I've been seeing it now on shelves in Nigeria. See what influencing can do. My son wanted to buy this drink by all means. And also, so I said of him that he has drank Prime in Nigeria. Number 3, demonstrate consistency. So your messaging and your branding across your online and offline platforms, let there be consistency. If you see Coke today, you see it as Coke everywhere you go, and then people you see it as Coke in a magazine. You see the colors are still the same colors, the letterings are the same. Any other thing they want to change, maybe advert and put families and all that. Every other thing about Coke remains the same, and that's why we're not confused when we see their brand elements. We're not confused. In fact, if you see other drinks that look like them, you probably would think they are Coke until you look again. I know that Coke had a problem with Coca-Cola also in Nigeria because they used the colors of bottles almost fake. The court came about it. Coca-Cola actually wanted to sue them because they kept brand for ages, for years on end, and we are used to it. And it's becoming confusing to buyers, thinking that Pop-Cola is Coca-Cola. And then another line here says you should develop a comprehensive brand guideline. So this is like a brand diary. Have a brand guideline for consistency. This is for you as a business owner. Just a minute, let me shut the door. So you need to have, like, they call it in some places they call it, sorry, I had to shut the door because some noise was coming in. You need to develop a comprehensive brand guideline. So in some places they call it the brand Bible. It becomes your reference and it's important. Get a brand guide, okay? So anybody that is even working with you or doing anything with you, once you just serve them that document. These are colors, these are templates. They have that a lot. They do that in Toastmasters. So I belong to Toastmasters International. And everybody you see the colors, their brand colors is what they all use all over the world. They've created a brand template. So if you need to do anything, just send it to you or go online, you find it. So this is very important. We're talking about brand recognition. If it's not you, then it's not you. If it's not blue, if it's not royal blue, it's not royal blue. If royal blue is my color and you decide to fake it and make it light blue, then that's not me. And that's what we're talking about, consistency in everything that talks about that product. Then invest in public relations, very key. So engage in international press releases. I know that some of us, we're saying, okay, we're startups, you don't have that much money, not much funds. Start where you can, or build the rest. Okay? It's important you participate in industry events, trade shows, so that people begin to see your product, they begin to see you, and then that begins to build your credibility. Because if you were a shady kind of business, you won't be going for things like this. So people meet you at industry events, they meet you at trade shows. Okay, it's an investment. It's a PR investment. And in some cases, collaborate with local media outlets to gain exposure in target markets. So you're going to a new market and you're online, you're on the radio one of the days to talk about products. So people in the community know that there's something new has come to the area. It's okay to do that as well. It's very okay. Okay? It's part of your brand recognition, the efforts you have to put there. Then number 5, you have to prioritize customer experience and engagement. That is a strong ingredient when it comes to brand recognition. To offer exceptional customer service and personalized experiences. Oh, people love personalized experiences when they don't even expect it. Suddenly somebody comes from the blues, or suddenly cake arrives. I have a friend that runs a training company. Honestly, I love the way they spoil their customer. Dear Lord, their training programs, geez, you will love it. They get to find out whose birthday is within that period, so they get you a cake, they celebrate in the class. These are things I already love. And when they take you out for stuff, they spoil you silly. Like, their customers want to have another experience with them. That's why they keep having new clients every day. Because when they begin to talk to them about, like in an office, they're talking, who should we go with this training? Everybody's always suggesting them. Because there's something about their brand that stands them out. And of course, I talk about prioritize customer experience, encourage customer feedback, act on insights. So customer feedback and insights get from there helps to improve your brand perception. It helps you to see how people see you and what you could improve, how you could expand on, what you need to tone down and all that. The loyalty programs is very key as well. It's part of your brand recognition. The way I describe brand recognition, how is more like, how do I recognize your brand? Okay. Then, of course, strategic partnerships are very important. In countries where you want to penetrate your international market, you can partner with established local brands to get market credibility. All right. You can leverage co-branding opportunities to enhance brand exposure. That's very good, very key. So, in the course of your research, you get to meet someone in there. And I tell you, when you are looking at partnerships, you always have to think win-win. Okay. Always think win-win. How can we co-work or co-brand in this particular case? It could be co-branding for a service, co-branding for, could be anything, but co-branding opportunities also helps you to enhance brand exposure, especially when you're co-branding with a vibrant brand, a brand that already exists and is well recognized. It kind of just pulls you along. Okay? They work with distribution networks to enhance accessibility. This is very important. But of course, there are challenges in international brand expansion. That's usually the cultural differences. And it's not such a challenge, but please ensure that you really, really study the cultural nuances in the places that you are going to, so that you don't make mistakes. It could be as simple as even the way you named your products, the way you numbered it. I'm telling you, it could be that serious. A number might mean a bad omen in some places, and to you is the best number ever. Number 7 could be something like a death wish in somebody's country. You may not know. So cultural nuances, please learn that. Then, of course, you have to understand legal and regulatory compliance. I think these are the places where people have problems. But slowly and steadily study this well, and you'll be there in no time, okay? International laws on trademarks and branding are there also in some other countries. Now, let me quickly talk about trademarking right now. Trademarking is territorial. Trademark is territorial. So if you have a trademark in Nigeria or in Kenya or in Mauritius, that trademark, if you're going to another country, you need to trademark in that country as well. Don't think that your trademark in Nigeria will carry you to London. It doesn't work that way. So you also need to trademark your product in the country you're headed, so that somebody else will not use your brand name. I just thought I should let you know that, okay? And of course, there are laws around this as well. It's not everything you can trademark, even in Nigeria. It's not everything you can trademark. So there are rules around trademark. There are common words. If someone else says they want to trademark a popular slogan, then does that mean we won't speak anymore? So that's why there are laws around trademarks and branding in those places. Then sometimes too, the challenge could be differentiating your brand from well-established local competitors. But I will tell you that when it comes to the stages of brand recognition, in fact, it starts from the part of rejection, where people don't even give a hoot about what you have put in the market. But then suddenly somebody begins to notice it. And then like, okay, I saw this today at the supermarket and I tried it, so good. And before you know it, customers begin to buy. So there's always that initial stage that you may struggle, because of market competition. But you know what? Those stages are also the stages where you're doing more research, getting to understand the market more, coming back to your drawing board to say, okay, oh, I noticed there's this other brand in the market, and this is the brand, this is what they do, this is their name. That's a time for you also to begin to go back to the drawing board. You even need market intelligence. It's very key when it comes to differentiation and beating the market competition, okay? Then, of course, another challenge I see is marketing budgets. Marketing could be very, very costly. But like I said, you start where you can start. In little bits, you're building something, okay? And you know that when you're done and you're consistent about that, you can begin to measure your brand recognition success. For example, I talked about the website that the Japanese guys did. I'm sure at the back end, they're checking how many people are, how many people are checking, how many people are ordering their products. In fact, in terms of delivery, successful deliveries, return deliveries, they're checking all of those things. They're checking their social media analytics, they're checking the engagement. As they write a story about the new product, they're checking how many people are reading it. They're looking at the website traffic, they're looking at conversion, and of course, we've got how many dollars back on this purchase. We've grown from having 2 staff to having 10 staff, all because our brand recognition is improving daily. So we're talking about brand recognition. It's not a one-off thing. It's something that we do. It's a process. And that process may be there for life. Trust me, Coca-Cola has not gone to bed. Every day they're thinking of something new. That's the whole idea. Because brand building is throughout the life cycle of a product, trust me, and a service. Because the day your quality comes down, or the day you mess up your brand awareness, brand recognition, your reputation, I'm telling you, that the brand will die. So it's a lifelong thing. It could be fun, it make it fun for you. Just checking what's going on in the market. And as you're checking, you're putting new things out there, you're reaching new markets, you're seeing money, you're adding bountiful business. Keeps you in business, right? So this is how you know you can keep recognizing success by measuring. You know, brand building, brand recognition is very key. It's something you can measure. But you can give yourself a time, within the next 1 year, this is where we hope to be, and you can begin to measure that way. You can, because you want to know where you are and where you want to be at a particular time, you can issue brand awareness surveys to customers or clients periodically to get their feedback on what they think about your product in different areas, the taste, the accessibility, the cost. It keeps you in the face of your customers. And then they also know that you care. Way beyond just selling the product, but that you care about how they're enjoying the service or the product that you're selling in whatever market you choose to sell it. Okay? So let me give a case study very quickly. I'm running out of time. I don't know how many slides is left, but let me quickly give a case study. I may not read it in detail, but this is XYZ country. We were founded in 2005. And of course, this is 10 years later, 2015. They embarked upon an international expansion journey, targeting North America, Europe, and Asia. They faced some challenges, of course, in gaining customer trust, differentiation, like I mentioned, and also navigating cultural differences. But somehow, they were able to do a few things. What did they do? And this is a strategy I want to share with you. I think it's going to be useful for somebody. First, they localized marketing and branding. Okay? So in the local environment where they want to sell, they decided to adapt their messages to that locality. They probably came with the main message, they came from their countries, but they realized that many people are different here, their cultures are different, their tastes are different. So they decided to align with local cultures and preferences. Okay? In Asian markets, the brand incorporated traditional motifs and colors. So they changed a few things when it was Asian market. Because, you know, in Asia, they have a couple of things, artifacts, motifs, colors. So they decided to say, okay, for this Asian market, this is how we're going to pitch it. Okay? In Europe, the company emphasized sustainability and innovation because that's what they valued in Europe. So they localized marketing and branding. They found strategic partnerships and they also leveraged influencer marketing. This was very important. For example, in North America, they partnered with tech reviewers and online content creators. And those ones were always talking about their products. So they were boosting their brand awareness and trust. That was very key. Then, of course, they employed strong digital and social media presence. And they looked at the social media platforms that worked in these places. Because the truth is, I'm Nigerian, and I feel that Facebook is the alpha and omega here. You get to another country and realize that they don't even know what Facebook is about. And that shocks me a lot. So when did I travel? I was at Cornell for some time. And in Nigeria, Ben 10 was so popular. Ben 10, the comic, the cartoon, right? And nobody seemed to know Ben 10. Honestly, I even went for a home stay with the family. And I was asking the kids, Ben 10, they were just looking at me. I'm like, you don't mean it. In Nigeria, Ben 10 comics, Ben 10 cartoon, Ben 10 wristwatches, the shoes. Like kids, if they don't have something about Ben 10, their parents are in trouble. So I now realize that I'm just in my own bubble, really. So you can look at regional specific social media platforms, WeChat in China, whatever works. So you don't go to a market you carry old knowledge or what you think you're used to. So this is what they did. They actually engaged strong social media presence. They participated in international trade. Like I see at least for that once I'm done. They participated in international trade shows and events. And from there, they were able to demonstrate their product innovation. They were able to also get industry certifications. And that was very helpful for them, actually. Should I also say this, that certifications is good for you when it comes to entering international markets? Because international certifications opens doors to any kind of market. Imagine you have an ISO certification, ASIP, or any certification that relates to the industry you're operating. The doors to any market in this world is open to you as long as that certification is recognized. So that's a very powerful tool as well for brand recognition. And these are some of the things some people pick up and look at, even on your label, in your package, before they even buy them. So that's very key, okay? Customer experience and support optimization, they made use of that. So what they did was they invested in multilingual customer service. So in this case, they had customer service reps that could speak several languages. They had, even on their website, they had region-specific payment options as well. So if you're paying it from China, they had a payment system that could process, is it yen, that could process dollars, that could process naira. They did that as well. So that was even important. Customer experience and support optimization. For their labels, they made sure that there was more than one language. It was French that was dominant. They had French on the packaging, and that was very good. So when you're going into international markets, you have to think that way as well. Not everybody speaks English. Sorry, not everybody speaks English. Some people, it's purely French, Swahili. You need to start looking at this and invest in it. And of course, they also leverage CSR initiatives. They did some social impact projects tailored to each market. You may not start that now, but I know that when companies become really big at some point, they get engaged in CSR efforts. But you don't even have to be very big to do something CSR. You could just, it could even just be a mentorship thing. It could be a day out with some kids that the community now begins to say, whoa. And that's one thing I think Indomie does very well. CSR. They go to schools, they give bags, and kids just want their parents to buy Indomie for them. CSR is very great. They fix stuff. They donate a library in a school and all of that. So CSR is also really good. It builds and improves your brand recognition. And this company, XYZ, within 3 years, they achieved 200% increase in brand awareness across targeted international markets. Their sales grew by 150% performance in North America and Asia. Their customer engagement and brand loyalty improved due to localized marketing efforts and strong online presence. Note those things. Improved customer engagement and brand loyalty improved due to localized marketing efforts. Like we always say, even Nigeria, I always say security is local, even your marketing, because people are trying to get across to you. So wherever you are, within where you are, put your effort to make sure that you build a global brand. That is what you communicate to the world. People are ordering stuff from Nigeria, from outside this country, because they already have a good brand. And, you know, some of these brands are already recognized, like, wow. And so somebody tells someone that tells someone and says, go on this page and order it. And that's it. So customer engagement, very key. Brand loyalty, very key. And I'm sure they rewarded their customers as time went on. We have other case studies here. You know, when it comes to slogan, logos, you know, I'm talking about brand consistency. If you look at Toastmasters, anywhere in the world you find it, these are the colors of Toastmasters. And the slogan remains where leaders are made. If you find KFC, this is the face you're going to see. Anywhere you see a face that is different from this man, it is not KFC, or colors different, or the font of KFC changes from maybe it's Lucida, whatever, to Century Gothic. There's something that's happened. And I tell you that when brands are changing, when they're changing some of the elements, they always advertise it. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. It's more like, okay, so we've got to a stage where I want to rebrand. They advertise it. They make it a big event. I'm telling you. So if it's not Coke, it's not Coke. So when you buy something, you buy paracetamol, and then you look at the paracetamol, something is just weird. Something just seems weird around it, you know. If that's the case, you won't trust it, would you? And that's what we call recognition, really. When you buy, you pick a particular product, this product is from, because you can see the elements you've related with over time shows that that is the product. If it's not like that, you would doubt it. As simple as even the notes. Your note, your Naira note, or whatever note that is, there's a note you see, and you say, this note is not, this is not 500 Naira. It's shorter, it's slimmer, it's thicker, and this is not the note. Okay? It's not when you see Coca-Cola, if the fonts are not like this, you will not buy it. If you see Apple logo and it's not looking like this, not Apple. Sorry. And that's very consistent. And all of that is critical for you in penetrating new markets. The form. What form do you take? The eye gate, what form do you take? That's how you first enter this market. And that's very critical. So these are the case. I just put these case studies. I'm not going to be speaking through them, but I put them here because you can also relate. So my conclusion is that building brand recognition requires a well thought out strategy. You need to have a strategy. Okay. You have to think of cultural adaptability. You don't say this is how we do it here, and this is the way it should be. No way. It doesn't work that way. And your branding efforts must be consistent. You need to leverage digital marketing, strategic partnerships, exceptional customer experiences, and that way you can build a recognizable and a quality brand. So this is where I'm going to end this. There's been a lot. I put some further reading because I went on a particular website and I really loved this. How to develop successful international branding strategies from British Tech. It was a very good read. So I added it here so that if anyone wants to put this further. But let me also say this as a roundup. Brand recognition is all about consistency. It requires planning. It requires that first you believe, and let's look at it that you also believe that you can be a global brand, okay? Putting that in mind, you will do everything to ensure that you succeed in the global market. When people can recognize your brand, it's a good thing. When they see the name, when they see the logo, they see the packaging, and they say, yeah, that must be you. Then it's a beautiful thing. Honestly, it's a beautiful thing. People buy you because they see you. They see you, they recognize you. And I pray that we can all get to that point at some point. Either if you are offering products or services. On this note, done, and I hope this has been useful. I'll share my slides with you, and I have a feeling that this was recorded as well, and the recording can be shared with you guys. Okay? All right, over to you, AFC.
Thank you so much. That has been a very insightful session. I'm certain that a lot of persons will have questions for you. So if you have questions for Ms. Titi, please, you can either drop it in the chat box. My colleagues will be there to pick it up and share with me, or you can use the raise hand feature on Zoom, and definitely we'll call upon you and answer. So we cannot say we don't have questions after such a very great session. It is impossible to not have questions. So please drop your questions. And while I'm waiting for more questions, I can see a lot of persons saying thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Insightful. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you. The thank yous are a lot. It's overwhelming. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're just everywhere. So do well as you're sending your thank yous. Please send your questions. If you don't have questions, it means I would have to ask you. I'll just call on any random person and ask you question. Now I assume you have learned everything that you've gotten from today's session. Okay.
So let's see. I have just about maybe another 5 minutes to spare.
Okay. So for the lucky 2 persons that would ask questions, because Ms. Titi has to jump on another session. So I can see people asking for presentation. When she definitely shares with us, would do well to send it with you alongside the recording of today's session, so you can repeat. They say repetition is the key to learning. You can still go and listen. So I have 1 person has raised hand and 2 questions, and that would be all.
That'll
So
be
I'll
okay.
join the two questions from the comment chat box rather. I see
Okay.
Franklin asked how much as a percentage of your revenue or your cost should you invest in marketing? And Fumilayo, I'll fuse it so you can just answer in a go. Asked,
Yeah.
hello, when you have different products, how can your colors be different?
Oh, okay. So let me quickly answer that. For the marketing, well, there's a standard gauge kind of about 20%, 15 to 20%. You shouldn't go beyond that, really. But then you also have to be strategic about your marketing. You know, marketing is also strategic, or else you just be putting so much effort in marketing and you won't see the results. So marketing itself requires a whole lot of strategy. What effort can give us the maximum impact? Always think that way. Okay. One effort that can get us as much maximum impact as possible. Or else marketing can also go wrong if you're not marketing in the right places to the right people, to the right audience, then it's more like just harvesting the wind. So very key. I said, how long does it take to establish a brand? As long as you're consistent with it, give it time. In no time, trust me. It might take you 6 months, it can take you 1 year, but consistency. And one thing is this, quality is the name of the game. If you come out with something that is really top-notch product, in no time, your brand, people will begin to talk about you. Okay? So also know that when you're entering a new market, put your best foot forward. Please don't just do whatever you like in the market. Be deliberate that anyone that comes to touch with this product on the first attempt with it would be glued to it. And that's just it. Okay? Quality is key. All right. You are muted, I think.
Oh, sorry. I'll take the last question. I can see lots of questions, but please,
Suddenly.
yes, suddenly from nowhere. Miss City has
From
a
nowhere.
YouTube page, and I
Imagine.
think a lot of questions that would come up now, she might have probably answered it in her videos or something. So I
Yeah.
think we get the link and drop it on the chat box so you can go there and watch it. So cabinet strategy, Mark, you can unmute and ask your question. That will be the last question we're taking today.
Hello, everyone. This is
Hello.
Fatou Joker from Strategy Mark Consultancy. So
Okay.
we're a consultancy that guides food companies that want to export in Senegal and Côte d'Ivoire.
Cool, great.
So I wanted to ask you, in your experience on a day-to-day basis, what are the most important criteria that you look at when assessing whether a business is ready to export?
Oh, okay. So there are quite a number of things. First would be, do you have the muscle to export? That is the reason why I say the muscle, okay? Because you're taking your product to new markets. And you just don't want to just take a pack of something and put it right there. So the muscle will be, if I enter any other market right now, what's the volume that I need to take with me? But don't forget that you must also do the market research in the destination country of choice. So are you able to fund that kind of research? Are you able to go to even visit the place and do your research independently? But beyond that, do you have the muscle to start? So it's like I put 10 products in a new market and the 10 products have disappeared in 1 hour. And then I have 1 million people looking for the products, but they cannot find it. They move on to something else. That's just what it is. So that's why I keep saying, do you have the muscle? Do you get it? Although we always say this as well in export, that you should test the market first. So I have samples, and the samples will be your initial testing of the market. When you have people in that same market, it could be people you know, you can give them samples of your product to do a bit of testing, and they give you feedback, okay? And then your market research shows that, well, this would sell. So let's do 20 cartons of this product. Do you have the muscle to now ship 20 cartons? Have you been able to find those that you can partner with that will help you with the sales? Or are you setting up maybe a sister company there? Or are you even the one going into that market to sell your product? These are the things you have to look at critically. So in terms of the human resource, in terms of the finance, to produce enough to sell in that market at the beginning, you have to consider that. Do you have a product that the quality is at that level that when you take it to any new market, it's going to sell. Because in some cases, we do a lot of trials with products, really. Are you now there at the point where you know that this product is going to sell in this market? Have you done your research? These are things that will be up for consideration. I hope you are getting my point. I think are up for consideration. So when you say you're market ready, the product is the product market ready, packaging, labeling, certification. Are you aware of the legal implications of the countries you are going? It's part of your market readiness. Are you aware of the logistics of moving these goods around? Are you aware of the financial implications? That's part of your export readiness. So that's part of your export readiness. Okay, your product, your pricing, your quality. These are all part of your export readiness. And have you tested the market? Is the market ready to receive your product? In what form is the market willing to receive it? You need to understand it's part of your market readiness. When you have all of that covered, then you're sure that you're ready, then you can move. But you need to ensure that all those things are covered. I've only just given you a bit, but that is how you gauge your market readiness, really, your market readiness.
Thanks so much for sharing
Yes.
your perspective.
Yes. And let me say, I always talk about three things: quality, quantity, and price. So your quality, the quantity that you can sell in that market, do you have enough to sell? And price. Don't forget, it's part of export readiness. Check similar products in that market. What are the pricing? Can you compete? These are the things you need to be thinking about as you work on your product at this stage. And you're reaching out to see what the market is saying. So your pricing is important. Okay? You notice that maybe in that market, they buy the same product for half of what you want to sell it. Then you begin to ask yourself, how do I work backwards to see my logistics, whether I could drop my own pricing? Or maybe if I want to make it twice that price, what is my brand storytelling going to? How do I tell the story of this brand that people will know that, yes, it's expensive, but it's the best you can get anywhere? So those are some of the thinking styles. It's a process. But when you're comfortable then at that point, you can move out when you're sure that, yeah, I have this all covered and I'm confident I can move into this new market without giving myself less nights. All right?
Thank you.
So somebody said any recommendations? Okay, trademark. Sorry, trademark registration is done with. Is this a Nigerian? Okay, Chibukem. If you go to the Ministry of Trade and Investment, that's where you have the trademark registry, and they are the ones that do trademark in Nigeria. Okay? I could give you some contacts. I could pass the contact. Contacts on my phone for the trademark registry, the lawyers there that could help. Okay. AFC, over to you.
Okay, so we actually have suddenly, we just have overwhelming questions. Suddenly. So I don't know if you would be able to take one or two more questions.
Maybe one.
If not, that's fine. Okay,
Yeah,
so let me do minini, tinini, tanana.
okay.
How does one approach trademark? It's not any lucky person I can find. I'll just pick their question and okay. Yeah, I found one. So it says, what level can one reach before he or she, as an entrepreneur, stands out in international market?
Well, it's a journey, really. There's no formula to this thing, really. It's about the effort you put in. That's it. It's the effort you put in that you also gain back at the end of the day. But I'll tell you that if you sell quality products, really good quality products, you will get to a stage, even you will be overwhelmed. Because people buy quality. People buy customer, if you're also good with customer satisfaction and all that. There are different components we've talked about today. So there's no formula, as it were. Some people broke even in the market 1 month. Some stayed 6 months, but they were consistent with their brand messaging, creating their brand awareness, producing and providing quality services, dealing with customers, giving top-notch customer service. They just continued. And then you just get to that point. And when you get there, you will know. So there's no formula to it, really, at the end of the day. But be consistent in all these things I talked to you about. In no time, you become a G in the market. And don't cut corners.
Okay, thank you so much. Questions, we'll just have to put a stop to it there.
We have to put a stop to it.
Yes. So, but before we let you go, just one quick thing, just going to take a minute. Would love everyone to turn on their cameras. So we
Okay.
take pictures. Do well to tag Madam Titi, LinkedIn,
Right.
Facebook. Ensure to have um ensure to add key takeaways. What did you take from her session? If you tag her, I'm definitely sure
Oh, yes.
she
I'll
would
be happy to
engage
read
with
from
it. She
you.
would
Yeah.
reshare. So exactly. So go on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, just drop in your learnings from today's session. And from there, you can engage with her. She's very responsive. Should
Yeah.
definitely respond to you. So, team members on the call, please help us to take a screenshot. But before that, we'd give our best smile. I want to see everyone smile. It should be bigger than mine. Like, I want to see all your teeth. So, in 1, 2, 3, everybody, cheese.
Cheese.
Okay, I hope we have been able to take it. Thank you so much, Ma. We are deeply
Yes.
grateful. So for those of us still on the call, please give your virtual thank you, because thanks so much to Madam City. Before we call it today, I'll be calling up the the membership coordinator at AFC, Ms. Ebere, and she'll be taking you through what the AFC community is about, and especially for people who are joining us for the first time, what we do at AFC and how you can stand to benefit from our offerings here. So over to you, Ebere.
Thank you very much, Anna. And I must say, thank you so much, Mrs. C.T. Ojo. I particularly benefited from your insights today. Thank you so much. Before I even start, I would like to know how many members do we have in here? So if you are an African Food Changemaker member, just type in the chat box, I am a change maker. Change maker. Just put it in the chat box if you are a member. And if you are not a member and you are an agripreneur, tell me in the chat box that you would want to be a change maker. So I'm seeing that. I'm seeing a lot of change makers. I'm seeing a lot of our members. Thank you for joining us. So where are our non-members? If you're an agripreneur and you haven't joined, type in the chat box, I would love to be a change maker. Okay, we still have members. That means our non-members may not be that many. And if you are a change maker, how many people have you actually referred to join? Because I mean, if you are an agripreneur and you are actually a change maker, you should be, sending out information. You should be preaching the good news of AFC to your colleagues, your business partners out there. So I hope that you have actually been referring members to join the AFC. And I will just run through the membership drive because I'm seeing a lot of people here are members already, but you may need a few more, information about AFC so that you can actually discuss with intending members to join. If you are referring AFC to other people, you should be able to say one or two things about the community and what they stand to gain. So, quickly, African Food Changemakers, like you all know, we have a digital hub, right? I like to say that we're a knowledge hub. So we're a community that share knowledge, share data resources, share opportunities for everybody to benefit from and apply into their own businesses. And just like what we have just done today, we organize a number of knowledge sharing sessions, meetings, just so that you remain in tune with the changes that occur in the sector. I mean, you cannot go into business and keep doing the same thing you're doing every day. There is change. Every business environment is dynamic, and that is why we do this, what we are doing. So quickly, I'll just tell us the benefits. The hub provides opportunities for African agri-SMEs to scale together. We want everybody to scale, we want everybody to do well in their businesses, because at the end of the day, we want to change global narratives about African food. We want to put out African food out there to the world. And you see why today's topic is very important. We need to step up in our branding if we actually want to have our food out there consumed by other people, other parts of the world. We need to step up our branding. We need to step up our products. That's the essence of today's training. So you see that we are very intentional in ensuring that you have the necessary knowledge and skills to actually achieve this. We help you prepare your business to enter new African and global markets, like I've just mentioned. We share funding opportunities with you. So those of you that, I don't know how many of you have actually taken advantage of our opportunities for you. We share this every week. Every week there are new opportunities for funding, new opportunities for training, new opportunities for networking. So we share events, networking events that you can attend and meet new people, meet stakeholders that you can collaborate with for your business. And then we also share exhibition opportunities for you. So you can bring your product and then, showcase at different events through the exhibitions. And then once you join, you have access to vibrant community members from across Africa. As of today, we have about 6,400 agripreneurs from across 47 countries in Africa active on our hub. So you can imagine the access you would have once you join. You realize that you are connecting with somebody from another country. Your product, you're here in Nigeria, you've never tried exports before. And because of the access you have in the community, you're able to get access to Ghana, you're able to get access to Tanzania from a fellow agripreneur. So you can imagine the large opportunities there are in the community. If you are in the community and you've not taken advantage of any of these opportunities, please don't sleep on it. Take out everything that I have mentioned here and try and take advantage of it. Global market linkages. We share opportunities for global market linkages, some of which I have mentioned. We have a hub. We have a marketplace on the hub. We call it the AFC marketplace. Almost like the e-commerce, like an e-commerce platform. The difference is that the transactions don't happen on the hub. So we link you. When you're a member and you utilize the marketplace, you upload your products on the marketplace. It shows to the public on our website. So anybody that visits the AFC hub, the AFC website, www.afchub.org, clicks on the marketplace, they will see all your products and they can contact you directly. They don't need to reach out to AFC to say, oh, I have seen this product I like, I want to buy. No, once they click on any of the products, it takes them straight to your own site, your own website or your social media, and then they engage with you directly. We enhance the visibility and promote media engagement of selected agripreneurs. There's what we call the business showcase for our community members. If you're a member and you've not taken advantage of it, please don't snooze on this. It's very important. We do this for selected members. I mean, there's a process for you to apply and get, spotlighted on our social media handles. We get to interview you on Instagram Live, and a lot of people, a lot of visitors, followers of, the AFC will see you, will see what you do, will ask you questions about the business you do, the projects you are running, and then people will ask questions. And we are also boosting your visibility. We also boost your visibility through our exhibitions on our website. When you click on our website, you can find any community member on the website. So once you join, your picture is there, your social media link and everything is there. So once anyone clicks on the community and all our community members show up, they find you and they connect with you directly. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we have access, continue to enjoy access to exclusive networking events. Next slide, please. Okay, let's just continue before the next slide comes up. I've been saying a lot about what you get to benefit from joining the AFC community, but it's important to mention that we have eligibility criteria. The AFC community is not for every and anybody, right? The AFC community is for SMEs. It's designed for SMEs in the agri-food sector. So whatever value chain you operate in, whatever sector you operate in within the food ecosystem, you are welcome to join. So I'm speaking about the farmers. When I say farmers now, livestock, crop farmers, then the agri-inputs producers, talking about the distributors, processors, agri-tech providers, financiers. Really, we have some small financiers really on the platform, trainers, extension agents, processors, distributors, logistics, aggregators, okay? Even restaurant owners, food processors, nutritionists, restaurant owners, chefs are all welcome to join the AFC platform. But your business must have been registered. So you must have a registered business. Your business should be registered in line with the requirements of your country. You must have a proof of business registration. That is one. Two, you must have operated your business for at least 6 months. You must have operated your business from at least 6 months. And then you should have either a website or an active social media handle, so that we also, before verifying you, can go online and find out what you do. We can actually connect with you based on what you do, and we'd love to have you on board. But it's just important that you meet all of these criteria. And when you are interacting with people too, please also mention it. They must have registered businesses. They should be active either on website or social media handle, because that is the way visitors can actually reach out to you and connect with you. And then, very, 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 very important, before, please take me to the next slide. Take me to the next slide, please. Thank you. Very, very importantly, you must either own that business, or you are on the top management of that particular business, right? Because it is very important to add that we are change makers. Everyone in the community is a change maker. It doesn't matter if you work with smallholder farmers. Beautiful. In fact, we have a lot of members that work with smaller communities, smallholder farmers and the rest. And then whenever they receive knowledge like what has been shared here today, they take it back to the community and cascade for their members. So you are all welcome to join. If you want to join, just go to www.afchub.org and access the join the community. Click on the join the community icon on the home page or at the top right corner of your screen. Once you click on that, you'll see a number of questions that will come up. Please be patient to answer them. It is very important that everybody that joins the community is verifiable to ensure a secure platform for our members. So be patient to answer all of these questions. And once you answer all the questions, click submit. Make sure you put the good password that you can remember, and you will receive an email. You'll receive a verification email once you are registered. Through that email, you can access your dashboard immediately while the office will continue with its verification process. So once you register and you receive the email, you can access the dashboard, but you can only access, you will only have limited access. But the moment you have been verified under 24 to 48 hours, you will have free and unlimited access to all our resources on the hub. Upon submission and review from our end, once we are done verifying you, you will receive an email. That way you would know that, yes, you are fully a member of the AFC, and then you can begin to enjoy the resources that we have for you. So please, if this message I have just preached is actually for non-members. So even for our members, carry on this message to the non-members who are agripreneurs, who are doing great things in your own areas, in your own community. I'm looking forward to receiving a lot of referrals from you after today's event. Thank you for having me. Over to you, Anna.
Thank you so much, Ebere. So if you are not part of the AFC community, this is your sign to join us and be part of this community. Just like Ebere said, there are a lot of things you stand to gain from joining the AFC community. So if I'm certain that the membership community has dropped the link, and we look forward to having you join us. We look forward to welcoming you to a community that has members from across over 47 African countries in Africa. So we'll be moving on to the next segment of today's event that we're coming to a close actually, which is our next step and closing statement. Join our community of over entrepreneurs from over 47 African countries in Africa, and do well to share your feedback on ways you see we can improve, we can get better, we can serve you better. We love getting your feedbacks. It helps us serve and offer better services to our community members. And do well to follow us on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for African Food Change Makers and you would definitely see us. And also subscribe to our newsletter so you stay on top of all our latest opportunities within the agri-food industry and the offerings we have here at AFC. So on behalf of African Food Change Makers, thank you so much. And we look forward to having you to the next Open Export series. That is why you need to follow us, and that is why you need to also subscribe to our newsletter. So we look forward to having you join us. We have much more interesting topics. We have experts like Ms. Titi here today who would come and share on different topics within the export industry. Again, we'll be having for our members, our community members, and those who will be joining our community, we have the Agri-Food Funding series tomorrow. A lot of entrepreneurs are always complaining, funding. But is funding the real issue in your business? So the Agri-Funding series is there to help you with all the funding questions, the needs, the challenges you have in your agribusiness. So do well to register. The membership team will also be dropping the link to register for the event, and also look out for the next Open Export series program. And then to the Brace, those who have applied for our Brace cohorts for this, the first cohorts of the first batch for this year, congratulations if you've received your email that's a part of the Brace, or congratulations if you'll be receiving. We'll be having the first onboarding on Friday, so do well to also join us, and we look forward to having an amazing session with you. So till we see you again next time, have an amazing week. Enjoy the rest of your week and the rest of February. Bye, everyone.